Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 6th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday, happy Garfield Day. Hopefully you got that lasagna. Hopefully you got a little garlic bread, a little wine to wash it all down. Hopefully you've had a really good ass Monday. As for mine, it was good. I'd say we got that piece of lasagna, and we had a little nibble on some seconds. You know what? Actually, we had a whole other round. I'll get to that. But no, it's been a good day. It treated me well. But we will start actually on Sunday night. Post the podcast episode, I did go to the gym, so I was able to make that happen. Quick in and out session, nice and tight, nice and light. But then came home, yada close out the night. Monday, we actually, slept pretty well, which was nice. I feel like it's really good for a Monday situation. Sunday into Monday, I should say. Woke up feeling pretty rested, got myself together, got to work. I will say work was dead. It was so slow, which I didn't necessarily enjoy because it meant that I had to either wander the floors, waiting, looking for work, and then also, just doing putbacks to kill time when they finally came in. So yeah, that wasn't too great. And then also it was a Monday, and I literally wound up leaving a little bit early, so that's not a good time for the week in that regard. But the good news was, it was a food day. It was a bit of a treat day, a belated happy birthday, I guess you could say, to America. But yeah, we got to eat burger and hot dog, with a side of white cheese macaroni, and then a random ass cookie that I believe was one of two cookies, only two cookies I saw, a sprinkled sugar cookie and a chocolate, maybe raspberry situation cookie. Definitely the chocolate raspberry one was the way to go. The first one I got was a fuck ass sprinkle one, and it looked terrible, and it was falling off of the bone in a bad way. Which normally you hear that and you think it's a good thing. Like, no, it didn't look good. It wound up tasting all right. But anyway, overall, I mean, it was what it was. Like, we're not talking like spectacular gourmet food here, but like, free burger, free hot dog, burger had cheese on it, a little couple pieces of lettuce. Like, I was fine with it. And a pickle. It was fine. It was good. So good that when I got my second ticket, I was like, oh, I'm going to use it this time. We're scamming. We're back on. So on the way out, I picked up a second order, and then I went to McDonald's and I got a large fry and a McChicken and proceeded to eat that outside of the McDonald's. Had a little makeshift picnic. That was essentially my dinner. Just big backing it in public. No, it was yummy. Also I had a side of sweet and sour sauce and some ketchup. So I really got to live my dream from this weekend. I got to have my little fry meal. So that felt really good. It was very satisfying. That being said, I was poached, belly full, and proceeded to go work out after at Planet Fitness. And I had that vibe of like, oh, like, I think this is why people, like, older people used to tell you when you were a kid, like, hey, don't eat and then go into the pool, which I always thought was bullshit. And I definitely did that as a kid and had no problems, no worries. But I will say I ate, and like, I felt like it definitely compromised the workout, which is something I generally feel happens to me a lot when I eat. Like, that is often why I don't want to eat a big filling meal or really like much of anything. I actually like fasted workouts just because if I go in full, I just feel like I don't perform as well. I'm usually sluggish. I usually am in this digestive mode. And then like today, I felt like I was cramping a little bit extra. Maybe that was for other reasons. I don't know. But like, I don't know. Definitely wasn't the best workout in that regard. But overall, it was a good workout. I feel like I got a solid pump. So, and I got in and I got out, especially for Monday being a busy day. We'll take it. Thumbs up. But post the workout, post the McDonald's free treat day hybrid, we came home. I did skip the stretch. I will say I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling like moving anymore, and got some news stories together. And I skipped a snack too. I think I'm good on that for today. And here we are, ready to rock and roll, ready to yap out some news. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into it. Oh, hopefully y'all are staying hydrated. Oh. Whew. I have been hearing and reading more people's takes on the what is it, the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce wedding. Honestly, I'm actually fine with people being salty, being mad about that. Like the fact that it's like people like for these two people, y'all booked up the whole Madison Square Garden, took up all these public resources, and da da da. Like, look, for me personally, it's not for me to yap or whine about. I think there's bigger other issues on the table for the year. But that being said, I think it's definitely, correct to be like, what the fuck is this? Like, but that's getting mad more at the symptoms and not really trying to find a solution. But, we'll say that for another podcast. But needless to say, I still think the takes are interesting. I still stand. It's like, hey, man, if you want to be happy for Taylor Swift and yada, 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 blah, 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 I'm not here to yuck your yum. That's just not what this podcast is about today. So, by all means. But yeah, we're also going to be talking a little bit of the football. But we're going to save that. Actually, I have a pop-up story I wanted to cover before that. Ooh. Okay. First story. It's going to be coming from the BBC. Ukraine warns of interceptor missile shortage as 23 killed in Kyiv region. The Ukrainian Air Force says a serious shortage of interceptor missiles meant none of the 23 ballistic missiles fired by Russia at Kyiv on Sunday night were shot down. At least 15 people were killed in a second large-scale Russian attack on the Ukrainian capital in a week, officials said. 8 more were killed in a wider Kyiv region. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has appealed for allies to take strong decisions at this week's NATO summit to provide Kyiv with air defenses. After the strikes, he said the Ukrainian military has been successful in intercepting cruise missiles and drones, but not the ballistic missiles. Zelensky later said it was simply absurd that in a modern world, production has still not been scaled up to the level actually required to protect people from ballistic terror. There's more details, at least in terms of there were 68 missiles and 351 strike drones. And that the Ukrainian Air Force shot down or suppressed 37 missiles and 326 drones, it said. But yeah, I mean, this is just showing that yet again, this is an ongoing thing. The beat is still rolling on. Still peace is not in sight. And I don't know, it is one of those things where I feel like the media will do this thing of like saying like, oh yeah, Ukraine's really doing it. They're really taking it to Russia. Like, in this stage of it, like, yeah, this drone warfare, it really seems like, Ukraine is really taking the edge to them. And it's like, okay, I don't see what and how this has changed here. Like, Russia isn't Russia. And it's like, well, no. Russia's definitely struggling. They're having oil shortages from what, Ukraine's doing. But then these things happen. And you have these big strikes, essentially in retaliation. And it's like, yeah, where is that advantage that you guys are talking about? But it's like, also, it's like, where is the aid that, these nations are talking about? It really does feel like the only motherfuckers in Ukraine's corner, in the pocket, really is the media. They're the only one kind of doing the job that I feel like is normally performed here, in terms of bolstering up Ukraine and like saying like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to take the fight to Russia. We're going to beat them. It's like, that just seems more and more muted as this goes. But I mean, we'll see. I know the NATO summit is coming up. Maybe that'll be more than big talk. Maybe that'll be actual support tangible support for Ukraine. But it really does seem like in a post Joe Biden situation, that shit is crickets. Yeah, so I don't know. It's unfortunate. I mean, no matter what, people are dying in the situation. But yeah, it just definitely doesn't seem like there's any end in sight, which is, I guess the saddest part about this. But anyway, let's move on. Lighter stories, international. We're talking soccer. We're talking fucking football. From NBC News, U.S. star following Balogun eligible to play versus Belgium after FIFA suspends red card ban. U.S. striker following Balogun has been reinstated for the team's round of 16 match against Belgium on Monday after he earned a red card in a previous round, FIFA announced Sunday. Balogun was shown a controversial red card Wednesday during the U.S.'s 2-0 win over Bosnia-Herzegovina. Whatever, I'm fucking that up. We're just going to say Bosnia. Bosnia to start the knockout stage. The card came after a replay review showed him inadvertently stepping on the back of the leg of Bosnia-Herzegovina. We're going to try and say that's how you say it. Tarek Renovovic. Sure. A red card typically means a player is not only sent off in a match or in the match he's playing in, but also suspended for the following game or for the following one. The FIFA Disciplinary Committee, an independent judicial body that reviews plays it deems warrant a closer look, reviewed Balogun's foul and decided to suspend the suspension, which is very, very rare. Let's see, we're going to skip through the blah, blah, blah here. Belgium Soccer Federation blasted the ruling, saying it was astonished by FIFA's decision and arguing that it contradicts both FIFA's disciplinary code and the tournament's competition regulations, which say a red card automatically results in a suspension for the team's next match. President Donald Trump took to social media to praise the decision. "Thank you, FIFA, for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice," he said. According to a source familiar with the matter, Trump called FIFA President Gianni Infantino on Wednesday and asked him to review Balogun's suspension. FIFA has not said whether the call played any role in the decision, which is the sole fucking reason why I'm covering this shit. Because I didn't give a fuck about this game. I don't give a fuck about the way. Y'all know I don't care about football. Y'all don't care. I don't give a fuck about sports. I just don't. It's fun. I understand why people fuck with it by all means. But, it's just not for me. But that being said, I love a good controversy. I love a good fucking scandal. And, I mean, any chance I get to highlight how fucking corrupt FIFA is, I can't help myself. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So of course the guy you gave a fucking peace prize to is calling you up saying, "Hey man, what's with this red card shit? You know that shit is bogus. Fucking look into that, please." And he fucking does, and they find a way around it. And essentially them suspending the suspension is not them backing off. It's not them saying "Oh, we made a mistake." Because they double checked it and stood on it on the day. They use actual video to double check it, which is a rare thing for them to do. And they said, "No, you did it." Even though everyone is saying, and maybe you could say this is my bias kicking in or whatever, but generally people are saying he shouldn't have gotten a red card in the first place. It wasn't an intentional action. He was going for the ball. He came down. It's not like he was meaning to hurt this person. Sure, the guy Hollywood was like, oh, I'm hurt. But that's just how soccer is, But at the end of the day, the fact that this got flipped because Trump made the call, that's where it's fucked. It's just ew, that's nasty. Also, people are saying, well, this has never happened. It has happened before, just not exactly this way for the exact same parameters. The FIFA Disciplinary Committee has made similar rulings in the past, as recently as last year, when Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't know why I can never say his name right. I can never say anyone's name right. Ronaldo's 3-game ban was shortened to a 1-game suspension plus probation, which is wait, so you are making this carve out so that he can play, I believe, in the World Cup or whatever. You're making this shit happen for him. So, this happening for Balogun is not too untoward or beyond the fucking pale. I mean, at least not in my eyes. If you can do it for Ronaldo, you can do it for him. But that being said, I do think it goes against the spirit of the fucking game. I do think it shows how fucked up, how like corrupt FIFA is. Like you, just no spine, no fucking integrity. You can't even fucking stand on the goddamn business of it all, right? You know what I mean? You can't even stand on the fucking pitch of the game, man. That sucks. Also, to show how, disattached to this shit, I was literally telling my girlfriend, I thought the U.S. was out. I thought we lost in the knockout. I didn't know we had won that last game against Bosnia Herzegovina. Really, can I just say Bosnia? Is that problematic? My bad, BH. But I thought we had lost that. I thought we were done. I thought we were cooked. But no, apparently it was just Balogun who was cooked, and it's like, psych, he's back. So we'll see. Y'all know I'm not going to be giving y'all any coverage from the games or anything like that. But I mean, if there's any more controversy that pops up, interesting reactions or something, maybe we'll come back. Maybe we'll revisit the stage, if you will. But yeah, we'll go ahead and leave it there. And I will say, I guess my 2 cents on it. How do I feel? Where do I land? Once again, you can call me biased, but I think it's good that he's able to play. I think it was a shitty call just for me watching that little quick clip. But yeah, that's my armchair assessment on the matter. But I will say that definitely hella fucking bogus. Like, if you were seeing it was another team, you'd be like, boo, that fucking sucks. So I definitely get why people are booing. I definitely get why Belgium is in an uproar. I understand the disdain there, But hey, I mean, trust me, we don't like the old guy either, and I'm not talking about Balogun. I'm talking about the orange one. Anyway, let's move on. I want to get out of here. Let's go to fucking Sri Lanka. We're busting out one way or another. From the BBC, Sri Lanka prison riots leave 26 dead and more than 100 injured. Riots at a prison in western Sri Lanka have killed 26 people, 7 of them guards, and injured more than 100. The 2 days of violence at Negombo prison in a coastal town north of Colombo began with clashes between two groups of inmates. Prisoners are alleged to have grabbed guards' guns on Sunday. 2 people were killed that day, with dozens injured. Later, groups of male prisoners and women from an adjoining unit climbed onto prison rooftops demanding to be released. Fresh violence erupted on Monday when inmates tried to rush the prison gates. Security forces were deployed and multiple gunshots heard from inside the prison. The violence was reportedly triggered by a clash over an inmate informing on a drug trafficking operation inside. I don't know why, but for some reason that felt like so crazy to me. Because, of course I can't help but think in terms of the Oz or Wire. And I'm thinking damn, could you imagine some dude or some, operation to be hey, this dude snitched, because they're putting the kibosh on drugs. And from that, we had this whole ass fucking riot style situation. And now motherfuckers are dead and people are trying to fucking get out and all that. Chaos. But I mean, here the fuck we are. A total of 23 prison officers and 54 inmates are still receiving treatment, officials said. Some of the wounded were taken to Negombo, we're going to say that's Negombo, hospital. The hospital director told the AFP news agency that some had bullet wounds, while others had sustained cuts and severe bruises. Others were transported to Colombo National Hospital. Police said part of the prison's roof collapsed during the incident, which injured some of the women involved, AFP reported. Crowds of inmates' relatives gathered outside on Monday as the situation unfolded. Some told BBC Sinhala they had not been given information about where the relatives were or who was alive and who had died. Areas within the prison are still being cleared, and the military has been placed on standby after police requested support, Reuters news agency reported. Prisons Commissioner media spokesperson AC Ganjanake said steps had been taken to transfer inmates to other prisons. Minister of Justice and Prisons Harshana Nanayakara has instructed authorities to investigate and submit a report. Sri Lankan prisons held 41,250 inmates as of Sunday, which is 4 times their capacity, according to the AFP. So, definitely to the brim there, which is, unfortunate to see. Yet again, another prison infrastructure that is packed to the gills, probably underfunded, probably understaffed if you got into it, and ready to blow for a situation like this. Unfortunately, but that's not really surprising. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next story. Now, I pulled this from just a local. I'd say this is still kind of a story in its nascency, if you will. Kind of started over the weekend. I saw this via social media, kind of what put me onto it. But update. Family, I guess it's WLOX. Update. Family identifies body found on Horn Island as 18-year-old Nolan Wells. A body was found in the water on the northwest end of Horn Island on Monday morning, according to Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter. Officials said the body, which is believed to be that of 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells, was found around 8:45 a.m. by a park ranger. Jackson County Coroner Bruce Lynn said DNA testing will officially confirm the identity, but Lynn said there's no reason to believe it's not him. The sheriff also said the body found did match the description of Wells, which the family shared posts on social media confirming their loss. Ledbetter said the Wells' mother reported him missing late Saturday night after he went to the island with his friends on a small boat for Independence Day. Officials said the team was last seen on Saturday, July 4th, around 3 p.m. on Horn Island. The search for Wells involved multiple agencies, including the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, the Department of Marine Resources, the Gulf Islands, National Seashore, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the United Cajun Navy. Now, I'm going to make an aside here just for levity. I love that there is a United Cajun Navy. I hope they all have really festive accents, and I hope they eat like gumbo and etouffee on their breaks. And I don't know. Maybe that might be the best part of our military-industrial complex is the United Cajun Navy. But anyway. Ledbetter said there's currently no indication of drug or alcohol use, but that the coroner would have more information following the investigation and toxicology reports. West played football at Ocean Springs High School and Southwest Mississippi Community College. There's been tributes, testimonials, for Wells. That we're going to be skipping through for the sake of time, but I really wanted to cover the story because once again, I saw this on social media and there was something about it, and it immediately made me understand why this was kind of spreading, going viral, if you will, because you have a situation where you have a person of color, young teenager, young adult, and they're hanging out with their group of white friends, and it looks like they're having a great grand old time. And then next thing you know, or this whole thing that as you're looking through maybe this photo album or series of events or whatever, wait, something happened here and now the person is dead, missing. What happened? Why is it that all of these other kids are fine and okay and they made it back home and they're fine and dandy from their fucking trip? But what happened to this kid? What happened to this person? And you kind of know how the story goes when you see this kind of template applied where it's like, oh, well, we did the investigation, we did the autopsy. We don't know. See, he just died of natural causes or they're still missing, whatever. We don't know. It's strange. These things happen, right? And that is the end of the road on it. And there's no justice. There's no answers. There's no nothing. And once again, it's just like, it is just an elephant in the room. And the only place you can talk about it is social media, is the fucking discourse. And it drives you crazy. So I just, I saw the story and I was like, yeah. The second I kind of get any kind of real whiff of it, like, on my newsfeed, I want to talk about it. So here we are. If there are any more details, I will definitely be coming back to it. And I hate to say it too, even down to the region where we're talking like, a Mississippi kid, Mississippi, friends, family, whatever. And you have the situation where it's like, look, I hope nothing like that happened. How do I word this? As a situation as it is in just a basic level, this is a sad, tragic story. Whatever fucking happened. But naturally, the heart and the mind go to those places of like, is there a racial component to this? You know what I mean? Like, so that is something I'm looking at. That is something I'm sniffing around for. But we'll see. And look, I'm hoping that That's not the case. You know what I mean? I will say that. I don't want to like go in saying that I'm looking for that. I'm looking to pull that out and see, there you go, another example. No, you know what I mean? That's not going to bring Wells back either. I know that too. But these are answers that you want. If you were if this was your family member, this is your son, this is your brother, your cousin, whatever, your friend, you'd want to know what the fuck happened. And like, did the rest of the friends or whatever do anything? You know, either to save them, or to do something to cause it. You want to know. You're gonna want fucking answers, right? So, but once again, I know the story is very new, very nascent, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how the story evolves. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. We have one more story that I wanted to cover. We're taking it to a local place. We're going to Ohio. But it's not a good story. So, it feels like, we got the U.S., that the red car situation, that might have been the good story for the day. And that's really a matter of perspective, I guess you could say. But anyway, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll close it out in Rittman, Ohio. Ooh. Mm. All right, this is from Fox 8. 4 dead, including officer. Suspect in Rittman shooting. Multiple people were shot and killed in Rittman Sunday night, including a police officer who was responding to the report of gunshots. 2 more victims and the suspect are confirmed dead. 4 of the deputies and a police canine from the Wayne County Sheriff's Office were also wounded. Rittman police on Monday morning identified the officer who was shot as Sergeant Scott Riles. He was a 10-year veteran of the police department and previously served as a Wayne County Sheriff's deputy and as a police officer in Sugar Grove, Fairfield County. I believe he was 54. We're going to skip the, the testimonial for him. Let's see. Luke Reynolds, chief investigator for the Wayne County Coroner's Office, on Monday afternoon, identified the other 2 victims as 43-year-old Christine McWilliams, 43, and her daughter, 13-year-old McKinley McWilliams. The suspected shooter was identified as a 38-year-old Brandon Fazkiss. Reynolds said the man had a gunshot wound that is consistent with suicide. Let's see. Jessica Dill learned that Fazkiss, a Wayne County man, is believed to be the boyfriend or ex-boyfriend of the victim. Wayne County Sheriff's canine, Vic, was also shot and is now in serious condition and is undergoing surgery, authorities said. Let's see here. They kind of get a testimonial from a guy who was like, apparently he was out with his dog. He heard it, or maybe not out with his dog. He checked with his wife before checking around the house to see what had happened. And then he heard a dozen more shots and fled. He said, I got my dog and went down to the basement, as well as with my wife. Shoosh. Yeah, that would be scary. I couldn't imagine just, what was going on there? It sounds pretty crazy. And then next thing, and it's like, oh my God, people are dying. That would be scary. But hey, I mean, that's living in America, I guess. Let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to pull from this story? No, this is details. I imagine if there's anything more relevant, I will be back. I'll be back. But yeah, that's it. What was something I definitely missed? I didn't talk anything about the Freedom 250 party, the state fair. I didn't talk about that at all. But granted, there really wasn't much to cover because I don't think people really came out to it. It was like Trump's party celebration situation that was supposed to happen in DC It's a big old fucking get together. A lot of, moneyed shit was supposed to come to make this like grand happening state fair, but essentially it was a huge flop and none of the shit seemed worth it. And not to mention, going out was a risk just because you would probably die of fucking heat stroke. Just hanging around with fucking, MAGA nobodies. And I mean nobodies. It was really like you were hanging out in a ghost town. But hey, if you went, I don't know, you're somehow a listener, that there's some kind of overlap there, by all means, let me know, refute the rumors. Maybe there were booming, bustling crowds and people just fucking missed them. Maybe the fucking, New York Crimes is fucking lying. I don't know, man, but whatever. That seemed like a nothing burger, so I didn't really wanted to really cover that. So it goes. I was like, you know what? We're fucking talking about Taylor Swift. That was more relevant. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's it. That's really all I have for today. That's going to be the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/SazanaNews. Become a newsie today. You can always just, sign up and just be, get hip to that shit for free. But if you want to get on the roll call, I shot you out at the top of the month. You can get all the extra blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. That's like a $5 something like that. It's around the price of a cup of coffee. That's what they tell me to say, at least. But yeah, free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcast. Hopefully I can get, I know I missed technically an episode on TikTok. I'll try to see if I can get that uploaded tonight. Hopefully this episode uploads on TikTok tonight. I don't know. If it have a little bit of technical difficulties, I'll be back. I'll get back to you. But yeah, following all the socials, leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is always caring. It's always useful, helpful for the algorithm to do that kind of stuff. All of the high reviews, give me all of the stars, please, 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 please. It's as helpful on Spotify or the Apple Podcast. But if you don't, that's okay. I know what I am. I'm a little amateur. This is just for the fun of it, for the fuck of it, if you will. And I'm really just happy that there's someone at the end of this line just listening, just hanging out, just letting me vibe out, in their car stereo or in their headphones right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you a lot. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.